Welcome everyone, my name is Tim Savage. I am the immediate past president of the Orchestra of Northern New York and would like to welcome you to another segment of Behind the Scenes of ONNY. Very special guest today, T. Erling Tom Walker, former Mayor of Watertown, successful businessman and community leader, major donor to ONNY and member of ONNY's Watertown Advisory Committee. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Super. I wonder if you might tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to know about the Orchestra of Northern New York.
Well, that goes back 69 years, July, when I took a position with the New York Air Brake Company as a future executive of the company, but it didn't work out. So here I am. And
it worked out for us.
Well, I worked at the air brake for about 10 years and getting ready to make a move because of circumstances. But we thought, well, if we move somewhere else, I've got to get familiar with the area, make your friends again, and so forth. And we like it up here. Believe it or not, we're winter people. And we like the snow conditions and the people and just the whole ambience of Watertown and the North Country. So we decided to just put our anchor down here, and we've been here, as I say, 69 years. And in September, next month, we will be celebrating our 72nd wedding anniversary.
Well, congratulations to you and Mabel. That's
starting to wear out, though.
Mabel, I hope you're not watching.
She knows it.
And how did you get in contact initially with the Orchestra of Northern New York?
Well, I was a member. Somehow I was a director of the Syracuse Symphony Orchestra. They were looking for some support up in this area, and most of the directors were from Syracuse and beyond, and there wasn't anyone up here, and yet we were using their services every year. So that's how I got started with the orchestra. For a person that knows little or nothing about music, I can hardly whistle a tune, but I enjoy music, and I figured, well, you know, there's people that play music, and there's people that have to listen to it. And I'm the latter.
Well, I believe when Syracuse Symphony Orchestra went out of business, we were put in contact, the orchestra was put in contact with you and Randy Richardson. I think that's
right.
How we initially met,
That's
you and
right.
I. And how long have you been involved with and sponsoring orchestral concerts in Watertown? It goes back to your Syracuse Symphony support, I would suspect.
Quite a bit, quite a few years,
Yeah.
maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
And we used to raise money up here to support the orchestra, and we put that money into a fund with the foundation instead of sending it to Syracuse.
The Northern New York Community Foundation?
That's right,
Yeah.
the forerunner of that. And we used that for anywhere from 4 to 6 concerts a year being played here in Watertown. Well, when they went bankrupt and they got their court order, I said to Randy, I said, we ought to use that money for musical experiences, not just the orchestra, but musical experiences for the community up in Watertown and Northern New York. And it so happened that we weren't throwing Syracuse Symphony out. We were negotiating, and they finally decided they would rather stay probably in central New York. And Ken Andrews said, we're not going to try to get in that, but if you need us, we're going to be available. I said, Ken, you're going to be available.
Well, we're thankful for that. You and your wife, Mabel, are generous major donors to the Orchestra of Northern New York. Significantly. Why is
Really?
that? Yeah, why is that?
Well, I don't know. Were you going to give some back?
I think it's a one-way.
I don't think so.
I think it's a one-way street.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yep. No, I think the orchestra, although I don't know a whole lot about music, we enjoy the music and we enjoy the fact that it's a quality performance. I think it's probably the best that we've seen, and we're glad to have them down here because it's more or less centered in northern New York. And so it was a natural that we would support. And I didn't know that much about the orchestra, except I did know about the school.
Crane School of Music?
Crane School of Music.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you have some affiliation with the universities up in Potsdam and Canton, don't you?
Well, I was on the board of Potsdam for 18 years. I didn't realize it. I said, it's time for me to get off.
That's the alumni board for SUNY Potsdam?
No, that was the SUNY.
Yeah, the SUNY
Yeah,
Potsdam
SUNY
College.
Potsdam board.
Okay. What are the greatest challenges and rewards in bringing in, like the Syracuse Symphony Orchestra or the Orchestra of Northern New York?
Well, we like the idea that instead of having mud races, we'd like to have something of quality. Even though I'm not a musician, but I enjoy it, and I think there's a lot of people that if they don't enjoy it, they should. And of course, it was the orchestra in the park I helped start, and I said that's something that's needed because we have a lot of families up here that are not that wealthy. They have children. They don't have a cottage. Some of them don't even have a boat. So this is a good chance for them to come up and listen to some good music and let them run all over the place.
That's at Thompson Park in July,
Thompson
right?
Park.
And when did that start? Do you have a
30 years ago.
30 years ago?
Yep.
And you were in on the beginning of that,
I started.
getting it organized.
Yep.
That's a big show.
That's a nice show. We enjoyed that.
And families do too.
Yeah.
One of my most significant memories with the orchestra is looking out at all of those families enjoying that music on a July evening, having a good time.
And even though you talk about fireworks, I think that's the finest fireworks that I've seen. It's not exuberant, but it's quality. It's small, and you're right under it.
Yeah.
Boy.
And the cannons fire and don't hurt either.
Yeah, you know where it is.
From Fort Drum, right? All ONNY concerts for 2020 were canceled because of COVID-19. How do you think the concert experience will be different when ONNY returns to Watertown?
Well, I guess it's anybody's guess. The thing is to make a decision where you're going to open up. And we're arguing now about kids going back to school.
Yep.
And I'm an advocate. They should be going back to school. You got to take a chance somewhere. Otherwise, you'll have more problems on your hands than you anticipate. And I think with the orchestra, I think it was you saw the fact that it wasn't going to be solved easily, so you made the move of canceling it well into next year. So I think you're on good grounds.
Yep. And we'll hope for a virus.
And that's the next one's going to be February, isn't it?
Yep. So
Save me a place there, will you?
Yeah, we will. And we'll hope by that time that there's an effective virus that's readily available.
Yes.
And that'll help to cut down on the risk significantly, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think people are feared of the fact that there's no place to go. Most other things, I look at it as a cold. If this were cold, they wouldn't think anything about it. And they don't have any backup. Don't have any backup for colds, except cold medicines.
Yeah.
But you do have a vaccine for flu.
Yeah.
And I try to stay away from flu.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a member of the Watertown Advisory Committee. Why did you agree to serve in that capacity? And will you share with our viewers what the committee does?
Well, just as I said, I'm not a musical person, but I think I would address the fact that I know of people out there that like music that don't particularly play an instrument or perform musically. And I think that's needed.
So the committee is very helpful to us in terms of rallying support and raising awareness in the Watertown area.
Right.
And that was essentially why you chose to serve on the committee?
I would say so.
Yep. And as a final question, Tom, what is your favorite memory of the ONNY concert series? Do you have a favorite ONNY concert that you remember?
No, I think I like all of them. The one thing that does strike me, though, is I'm glad that Ken takes a little time to introduce the public to the music and what they expect to hear and why. To me, that's very important because I don't know that much about it. And so I enjoy the fact that somebody can play music, and I always wonder why. And that was one thing in my education that sort of a delinquent, because I remember the school teacher that was our teacher, and I was more inclined to feel that she was a beauty than she was a teacher. So here I am.
There you are. Well, you raised a memory of mine talking about Ken Andrews' ability to communicate with an audience. Last August, you and your family and Randy Richardson and Jill, my wife, and I went out to dinner, and then we went to the concert in the Clayton Opera House afterwards. And I had the honor of sitting with you and your family, and I remember Ken talking, and members of your family and Randy saying, it is so nice when he tells us a little bit about, gives us some insight into the music or the performers or something. And so thank you for that memory, and thank you for being such an avid supporter of the Orchestra of Northern New York and so many other things in the North Country. Tom, you and Mabel have made a huge difference for us.
Well, you have the resource here, and the fact that you do have it, and if you don't use it, it just sits. Now we use it out and spread it around in the community. I felt was a good move to get qualified people that not only know how to play, but like to play and like to share their skills with the community. And we like to be able to share that skill as well.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, and we thank you for being here with us on Behind the Scenes of ONNY for this episode. Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Cut.